Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Kim's Corner. I'm Kim Brown, your host, and today I have with me Ms. Rose Mosley. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Rose, she's a good old soul. And I met her through Dom Vipre, which used to be, head of Cablevision and was a phenomenal person. I made so many wonderful connections with him. But Rose is a developer, an investment, a realtor. A realtor, you do property development. Girl, you got so many titles right now.
Just pretty much the whole gamut of it all. Yeah, I mean, I love real estate. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I got licensed in 1998. So, I've been doing it in many levels for many years, and I just love it.
Yeah, because you're also an investor and you also are a developer.
Correct, an investor.
So, see, there's so many things going on. She got it going on.
Thank you. And as a real estate investor, I just kind of figured out some ways to get property, make some pretty decent money in the process, and now I'm at a level where I'm in a developer seat, which is a great thing, and it's a slow and steady pace, but the rewards are going to be great because I'll be able to build quality product of housing right here in Essex County.
Let's go back. You first started as a realtor. Now explain the difference between the three that you do.
Okay, so a realtor is someone who transacts real estate under a license for real estate that they don't own. So as a realtor, I'm able to assist persons with selling and buying property that I don't own. And that's how I earn a commission. As a real estate investor, you don't have to be licensed to be an investor. You just have to have access to capital, find good deals, and have an ability to have a construction team and a real estate team that's going to be able to turn a property and get it in a habitable condition for the goal of either selling it or renting it out. So that's investing. And then on the final side, or where my most recent hat is real estate developing, and that's pretty much just taking a blighted area and just creating a vision and turning a vision into reality. And it's still all under real estate. And again, as a real estate developer, you don't have to be a licensed agent.
Okay, so the last two, you don't have to be an agent.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So how you've been doing this for a long time?
Yes, 1998, so I'm going on my 20th year next year. And I tell everyone I've been in real estate longer than I've been an adult, because we all turn adults at 18, and and when you do the math, it's probably like neck and neck now. And and I've originally started in all mostly urban markets: Camden, Philadelphia, Jersey City, Trenton, Passaic, Patterson, all of the major places of New Jersey per se, and some in Philadelphia, as I'm licensed in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania as well. And, in more recent times, I've been just offering different types of workshops and seminars because my goal is to help people understand real estate, that it's not really as scary as they think it is.
Yeah, and I think most people are afraid.
Exactly.
They think of just being maybe a homeowner and not really going any further than that.
Exactly. It could be very risky. So I don't blame those that are risk adverse, because that if you're conservative, you're just a conservative person, so that it might not necessarily be the best place for you. However, the beautiful part about real estate is that it helps close up the generational wealth gap. And that's really what our urban community and our urban investors focus on, making our blocks better, making increasing home values, protecting people from going to foreclosure. And in that, there's like almost 14 to 15 jobs that are created when you're turning a real estate property, from the real estate attorney to the title company to the construction crew to the bank that's involved, so there's so many positive impacts when you're taking property and turning it into something viable in the community. And I think that's what we all need to understand, the long-term impact. Not to mention, once you own real estate and you buy it smartly and with proper formula, you have those rents until perpetuity. Until the day you die, you can rent that place, because that's one thing we all need, is somewhere to live.
Yeah, I think people are just afraid money, credit, plays a big part in it. How do you find investors?
Well, investors, they come in all shapes and forms. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
Actually, one of the strongest part of my clientele are investing women. African American and Hispanic women tend to be my leading investors that buy and hold. A lot of my investors.
I think women are just better business.
I mean, they've been the head of the household for quite some time, so they understand that you need multiple streams of income. They understand the value of home ownership, the tax benefits that come with that, and the ability of having rental income even if you have a job or not. a lot of women that I know sustain themselves off of their rental income in a down market that maybe they don't have a job or, they're underemployed or whatever the case might be. They find that the rental income supplements a large part of their family. So, and they're usually the head of the households with the children. And in a lot of cases, not all cases though, and the male investors that I have tend to be flippers and tend to really get down and dirty with the crews, and they just want to go in and flip out the property, and they don't really deal with the rental part of it as much. So it's an interesting dynamics that are going on right now in the marketplace. But with the proper education, credit is like anything. You have to earn it, you have to work for it, and you have to understand it so you can maintain it. And that once you have your credit straight, then you can put yourself in a position for borrowing money, because that's usually the most time that how people get started is borrowing money.
Yeah, you have to borrow.
You have to borrow, at least to start.
Now, do you help people fix their credit too, or
I have a great team. I tend to just stay in my lane. Okay. I let the experts do what the experts do. Yeah, I'm already wearing enough hats, and you just tend to share the wealth, share the responsibility, and you build a great team. I actually use a gentleman by the name of Angelo McClutchin, and he has Fair Credit Reporting Company, and it's just he's been doing it also for about 20 years himself. So I tend to find experts in this industry and pair up with them so I can offer referrals, and then I know that they're being taken care of by the right people. Yeah. So it's a lot.
It's a lot. Question though, how does a developer pick an area they're going to that they want to develop? Because you see all this development going on downtown, and they're starting to move into the different wards. How does a developer decide, okay, this is going to be the next in place to live or whatever? How does a developer do that?
They watch the trends and they check to see what's available, what's location, what the location is, what's available in the area. A lot of the times when there's a lot of inventory, they can pick up a lot of things at the same time, then they have a vested interest. Developers just want to be either right in the heart of the action or right before the next wave. So obviously you made a great example. Central Ward is a great area. The East Ward has already been developed. Part of the North Ward is is becoming tight, and less deals are available. So it's only natural that you start looking at the South and the West wards. Because those are the wards that have been kind of I don't want to necessarily use the word ignored, but those are the wards that haven't been chosen first, or even second for that rather. So you can tend to have a little bit more playing ground in those particular areas. You could tend to buy for a little bit cheaper in those areas. But the beautiful part, the fact that, just speaking about Newark specifically, it's an 80% rental market. So that means that you're always going to have you build a quality product, someone's always going to want to live there.
Now, so as far as development, I notice when a lot of the developers come in, though, the area seems to get gentrified.
Well, it depends. I mean, I know gentrification is a big word, but when you're talking about this type of massive poverty and different things that have been going on in this community, gentrification is a natural part of growth and development of heavily blighted communities. So gentrification is not necessarily bad, because if that happens and you already own a piece of property, you're going to benefit. You get the equity. So what I'm telling everyone now is to focus more on counter gentrification, not anti-gentrification, but counter gentrification, which is why I offer the free workshops, classes, and seminars, because I want everyone that currently lives in these communities, if you buy it, they can't buy it. If you already own it, then you're the one that could say, hey, I own it, and I'm going to sell it to you for a profit if you want to be where I'm at. And that's how you really build the wealth and close the generational wealth gap.
Now, where does eminent domain come in with that, though?
Well, eminent domain is a different process. That is when the city invokes the right to acquire a property that may be underused or that may have a lot of different taxes on it. Well, taxes is like a foreclosure, but anyway, let me be clear. So eminent domain is when a city can take a property for a specific usage if it falls in junction with an overall plan, especially if the property's been abandoned, especially if the property's been tons of illegal activity, hoarders, just a bunch of negative activity in the place, in the community, and they can't locate the owner, or they keep citing the owner to do something about it, and the owner doesn't do anything about it, or like I said, or the place is just abandoned. The city, any city, can have a right to acquire the property with the goal of putting it back on the marketplace or using it as a part of their overall plan for betterment in that area.
Okay, now where do you think your best investments in? What cities around the state of New Jersey have you been in where you think it would be good for people to invest in some property?
Well, definitely, just for starters, Jersey City. That has a great return on investment. If you could find something, it's probably Jersey City's probably got another 25%, maybe 30% worth of inventory on it. It's not at the very beginning, but it's not all the way done.
Okay.
You can still find deals. You may pay a higher premium now because you're getting in a little bit later, but there's still some equity and some deals to be made there. Again, it's a high rental market, so it's definitely attractive. Newark is another great place to look and invest because Newark is the largest city in the state. There's tons of activity going on here, and when you're talking about investing and developing, you're talking about a longer term game anyway. You're talking about a 5-7 year game plan. So the city has enough wiggle room in it where you can still get great deals and you can still hold it for quite time. I mean, people complain about taxes specifically in Newark, but statewide the taxes are pretty low. So, you know, if you wanted to go to Montclair, you're not going to be able to swing $23,000 in taxes. South Orange, $20,000 in taxes. You know, West Orange, $17,000 in taxes. You're not going to get those tax points here in Newark. In another market, I would say Irvington. Another market, I would say Orange, East Orange. You know, a lot of the political landscape can help, but for the most part, I work in the private sector for the most part, so I'm dealing with individual homeowners. So at some point, you know, it kind of doesn't matter who's in office if I'm doing business with the private owners, and that's what you can take advantage of in all these different markets. I mean, you would love to have and be in a market where the political scene is very healthy and positive and progressive, which, you know, Newark is at times with the development part and a lot of real estate opportunities. So, you know, you just have to do a little bit of research. But Patterson could be another location. It depends on what your overall goal is in Patterson. But I mean, you know, you have to understand what type of investor you are. If you're low risk, middle risk, or high risk, that will kind of determine what market you should be in as well. Yeah,
you're just a wealth of information, girl. You just go. So if somebody wants to buy a property, say they do want to get into investing and buying property, and I've heard people say, well, I'm going to get a 2-family house. Is that the best thing to do? Maybe get a 2-family, live there, rent it out, and go from there? Because I've heard people who, they say that's the way to go. Do you think that is the best way to get started? Or do you think, well, they should just go ahead at first and buy a single-family home?
Well, it's scientific because once you get your credit right, they have programs out there, FHA programs, FHA 203K programs, and these programs are government backed with a little interest rate, little money down, and they give you the money to fix it up, right? So if you get in that golden opportunity, you definitely want to take advantage of the most units. I tell people there's a 4-3-2-1 strategy that I teach. First of all, you want to get a 4-family because an FHA loan will allow you to borrow on up to 4 units. That's considered still residential. So you want to get a 4-family first. Obviously, you probably will live there. So you do want to structure it in an anonymous way that you're the owner. You know, I highly encourage property management and dealing with and having a hired team to deal with be the buffer between. So you get your 4-family. Then you live there for a year. Then you get a 3-family. Then you get a 2-family, then you get your 1-family. That's really it. And now what you've essentially done, you've created...
So you have all these other rental properties.
Correct. And before you get your single family, you want to make sure that you have enough rental income coming in that no matter what you do for a living, what your spouse does, or what money's coming in and out of the house based on your primary income, you still have other income to subsidize your housing expenses. And hopefully
you got to eat tomorrow.
Exactly.
You got to eat tomorrow.
Exactly. You know, so it's very wise to get a multifamily first because on the flip side, if you get a single family first, let's say you use your FHA money, you get a single family, you kit it out, you use all the funds that they're going to let you fix it up, you got a single family. That's great. But now you're relying on just income that from your work. You don't have any other income coming in to help pay for the expenses of that property, number one. Number two, once you have a single family, if you decided that you now wanted to get into a multifamily property, the bank and any lender is going to look at it as if you're trying to get an investment property. right? And when you get an investment property, the rules change. You sometimes have to put down anywhere between 20 to 30% of the purchase price when it's considered an investment property. So it's a little riskier because you have to put down more cash.
Now,
so,
did that happen too because of the Fannie Mae thing and all that?
Well, it's always been viewed that way because the single family is where people take it as a final resting spot. And then if you want to get multi-units, the banks just see it as an investment. So when they're taking a second loan out and it's on an investment property, it's a bit riskier for the loan, for the banks as well. So that's why they penalize you by making you put 20 to 30% down on acquisition of an investment property after you bought a single family home. Yep.
So it's a lot. It's a lot, but the first thing people need to do is get their credit straight.
Get your credit. Listen, it's 2018 now, and the number one goal is to just work on your credit. I tell people from the beginning, just dispute everything. Start off with disputing everything.
Talk about credit.
I tell people you don't have anything to lose with disputing everything.
I ask them, have they ever seen Animal House with John Belushi?
Yes, that's
and
old
they gave
school.
him his grade point average 0.00. That's about my credit rate right now. Like his average at Animal House.
But
0.00. No, it's not that bad.
No, but you know what? I have to tell you, I always remind people, like, the lack of financial education in our community was systematically set up on purpose.
It is. And
so
it is designed for
we
failure.
can't all feel bad about where we are because it was systematically, a lot of these systems these are side effects of a design that was way before our time. So let's not feel bad, everybody. Let's understand that, there were things set up before you even had a credit card, before you even had credit, before you were even born in a lot of you cases. There were things set up to keep you ignorant to certain financial education and the value in credit. So don't feel bad. Right now, when you know better, when you know you grow. That's one of my taglines. So now that we all know better, we could all do better. And right now, with all the credit initiatives, they have credit apps, credit systems, everything you can do online. So what I tell people, if you really want to get started with your credit, dispute everything for starters. Start that engagement. Don't start negotiating first, because you may find that the collection company doesn't even have proof that you owe them. There's a lot of erroneous information.
I dispute everything. It's not mine. It's not mine. I dispute everything.
And you're not bucking the system, but due to Fair Credit Reporting Act, there's laws out there that actually protect you. So until you push back on it, those laws become activated. But if you're negotiating, sending payments, and doing all these things and taking it into your own hands, you might find that you probably not even owed that debt. So it's good to get the information from the professionals and to start off by disputing everything. Let them prove that you owe them, even though you probably know you owe them. But let them prove that, because as a company, they have a due diligence to prove to you that you are responsible for the debt, because there may be years that pass, 15, 20 years, you may not be responsible for the debt anymore. There might be statutes of limitations based on the type of account, where the account originated. It's a huge matrix. It's not really black and white. So you definitely want to, if this is something that you're serious about, you definitely want to get with a professional that's going to drive you to the results in the 2018 that you're looking for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So get your credit straight.
Get your credit straight, everybody.
Well,
that's first and foremost.
The United States has bad credit.
Yeah, listen.
We owe people trillions, billions of dollars.
That's what I'm saying. It's not about feeling bad because you owe someone. It's about maintaining your debt. It's about maintaining and having the right kind of debt, because not all debt and not all bills are bad. Some are part of the necessary evil. Some you got to have some debt to offset some income. Billionaires and trillionaires will teach you that. You definitely need to have some bad debt to offset the good income that you have. That's just kind of the American way. They set it up that way. You just got to understand the playbook.
It's designed for failure in many ways.
Correct.
It is.
Correct.
Education, financially.
Absolutely.
What they do. So those things have already been out there in place.
But we're witnessing a huge awakening. We're witnessing a huge awakening. More people are buying homes. More people are getting into investing.
Is the market good now?
Oh, the market is great. The market is great. I have a property in downtown Newark right now. I got 22 offers.
Wow.
Yeah, the market's great.
Now, is it just because it's downtown Newark? Because it's a whole renaissance going on.
Well, it's on Lincoln Park area, which is challenging.
Okay.
Right, so for Lincoln Park to get 22 offers on a property, that's impressive.
Yeah, because that means it's up and coming in. Yeah.
That's right. And I'm out here, telling everybody to come now. If you're waiting for somebody to tell you on the news, you're going to miss the boat. You're going to miss out. enter the market now while you still have a chance, while a lot of people aren't enlightened to it. You know, if you're in this community, and I tell people all the time, if you're living in this inner city community, and you and your family have experienced some type of violent crime or a loss of a loved one or some type of break-in or something like that, why allow those persons and those things to push you out of your marketplace? Buy the houses, buy the property so that the community could get better. That's equity that your family put into the community.
And that helps grow the community.
It does.
Instead of leaving the community.
Instead of leaving it. And we don't need more abandoned properties.
Exactly.
We need
Are
more
there a lot of
occupied.
abandoned properties in Newark?
Absolutely. There's a lot of people that couldn't
They
pay the
up for
taxes or the
grabs?
mortgage. Yeah, everything's always for sale, in my opinion. All properties are for sale, in my opinion.
That sounds like something. That sounds like something I have a little joke with Isabel.
Okay. You know, but it's just about being having a system and a format on how to attack and contact these owners. Yeah. So it's an exciting time in Essex County right now.
That's
real
great.
estate.
You've been doing it a long time. So you just concentrate on this area. You said something about Philadelphia also.
Yeah, I have some development deals down in Camden. I focus while I'm up here for my primary office. I focus on Essex and Hudson County right now, just to kind of, those are the two closest urban markets to me. So I try to make sure that people are aware and people understand the value in what's right next door. You know, going and leaving to go get a single family in Montclair, you kind of did yourself an economic injustice. Yeah. Yeah. So you're better off staying here and being a part of the change that you want to see. And then, you know, transition in a couple of years.
Especially in the South Ward, too, because there's a lot of development I heard that's going to be going on in the South Ward. Because it's near the port. It's, you know, the airport is there. You know, the 1 and 9 is there. So it's
Location. Yes. Yeah. And Newark has everything, you know, golf course, airport, ice skating rink, senior services, reentry services, you know, shops. I mean, it's all going to come. And what you don't have here yet will be coming. I'm guarantee it. You know, I meet with different type of private owners and developers, and I'm blessed to see some of the plans that are coming out for 2020. You know, light years ahead. And when you start seeing people's vision and the long-term vision of the city and some of the other cities in our immediate area, you really start to understand that this is a long-term race. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. It didn't take overnight to get this way, so it's not going to be overnight to get out of it. But everyone can do a part. Everyone can add a value to this entire process.
It's so great talking to you. You're such a wealth of information.
Thank you.
I hope my viewers got something out. Maybe those who you were afraid to go out and buy a house. This is the lady here.
That's right.
And she's giving you a lot of information. Don't be afraid. We have to invest in ourselves.
Yes.
And when we invest in these properties, we're just making an investment in Newark, and we're making an investment in ourselves.
Absolutely.
Again, it was such a pleasure. I will be talking to you. I might have you back again.
I would love to.
After I buy my first 10 or 15 properties here, I'm working on it. As soon as I get that 0.0 straightened out. But I want to thank everybody for joining Kim's Corner. I'll see you next time.